my friends, welcome to our Backgammon live stream number 165. And today we have a very special live stream. It is called Anki or XG2Anki workshop, and with questions and answers. So it will be a little bit different than my other Anki videos so far, I guess. It's not about advertising Anki or XG2Anki. It's more focused on people who already use the Anki method and how they can get more out of it. So, but still, if you have some basic questions, feel free to ask them. I try my best to answer them in between. So, yeah. Can soon start. Here you see me sitting here in my little corner in my little home. On the right side you see my special computer, which is dedicated to producing Anki cards 24/7. So it's quite busy at the moment. Yeah, I guess we directly jump into it. So if you have any questions anytime, you can ask them via the chat. Have a look there. Hi Goldpfleger, and talk about chat. Nice to have you here, Marcel. And yeah, how many viewers do we have? 9 at the moment. That's pretty good. And I think we get right into it. Very briefly, so even though it's not for Anki beginners, if you never heard about Anki, or especially about my Anki method regarding Backgammon, you can just start your journey and go to my website xg2anki.de. And there you have your starting point here. You can install the Anki software, which is an open source software. And you can also create an Anki account, which is also free of charge, which is very useful to synchronize your devices. Yeah, and then the next point will be that you most likely will download some free decks here and start with them. And I would also recommend to watch my tutorials. They are very short videos. I would recommend to watch them. This is the link to the YouTube playlist with some videos, and after that you should be ready to start your journey. So today I want to I have some topics on my list which I wanted to show you. One bigger part is, where I will start with, is some special features, or some are maybe even a little bit hidden. And then the second part will be how you can get the most out of your Anki database, especially when you have already lots of decks, free decks, or even purchased some. Yeah, the question is, if you have, I think if you get all the decks that you can purchase plus the free ones, it's I think around 4,000 cards already. So how can you get use of that? Because yeah, how long will it take to watch 4,000 cards? And so the secret is filtering, and that's the second topic of this workshop today. Hi Alex, nice to have you here. Finally, you are here in an English live stream here on my channel. Good to have you here. Yeah, so I guess we will jump into it. So what I have done, what you see on the screen now, I have freshly installed Anki in a Windows sandbox. So we have a clean system, and I have imported all the decks. That's what I have done before. And yeah, what can you do with Anki? Okay, Alex, I can switch to German if you understand that better meanwhile. Yeah, so what you can do, for example, I can show you. Many weeks ago, I had on Facebook, I saw this this position that was posted by 𝗔Ｈ𝗸𝗶, and I thought about how to play this 5-1, and somehow it occurred to me, I have seen this position. I think I have it somewhere in my database. So, but the question is, so in my database there are not only 4,000. I have now, I think, over 40,000 with all the customer decks. And then the question is, how can you find it? You cannot scroll through thousands of cards to find it. And yeah, so I show you one way what you could do is, yeah, first of all, you go to your XG and enter the position. And then I guess most of you know that with Control C you can copy the position, and with Control Shift C you can copy just the XG ID. The XG ID is another thing I would recommend you to look up in the XG help. So let's go to the help. I will show you briefly. So you go to content and then you search, enter XG ID, and then there's a chapter. So more or less it's the single line which defines a backgammon position. And here in the help file it's described the format of it. So it always starts with XG ID equals, and then comes the position, and then the cube level, cube position, and so on. Just for you, for some filtering, it may be a good idea to have a rough idea how the XG ID works. But that should be enough now. Just a tip that you can look this up in the XG online help. So, and then now if you have set up this position and you press Control Shift Z, and then you have the XG ID in your clipboard. And I have just copied it here in the notepad where you can see a little bit better. Now the question is, how can you find it in your Anki now? So what we want to do is, yeah, more or less we want to know the position and the role. You see the role here is comes a little bit further on the right, and yeah, so one way would be to modify it slightly and then use it as a search. And I will just copy something which I have prepared. By the way, all the things that I will enter here and have prepared, I will add this for download in the video description as a little text file, so you can later on try this on your own. So you see now in the second line, I have modified the copied XG ID. So we are more or less only interested in the position, which is here between the equal sign and the first double point, and the role, of course. And what I've prepared here in Anki, if you want to search for in a specific field, you could just start with the field name. So I have the field name XG ID in my Anki notes, and then I have just copied here until the first double point, and then I don't care so much about the cube position or level. I just want to here see the role a 5-1 to play, and the rest with the asterisk is any letters that come afterwards. So let's just copy this and try it out if we find something. So in Anki, you go just to browse, and then you have in the middle of the screen you have this search bar where you can enter some filter definitions. I'm gonna just paste this in, and then we see we have not only one, we have even two cards which contain this position with this role. So one is the from a third role deck from 𝗔𝗸𝗶, and one is obviously also Michi has talked about exactly this position in his book Opening Concepts. And then you can select a card here, anyway, any of the two in this case, and then on the upper right you can go to preview. If you click there, and then you see your position, which is exactly the same as we saw on the Facebook. So my intuition was right. I have seen this position before, and yeah, just to look it up. And of course, Alex was right that the best move here is 21-16 and then 6-5. So yeah, but it's not about Backgammon positions today. It's more about Anki. So we will not discuss this deeply. So before we go to more advanced, this was just an example how you can see if you have a specific position already in your Anki database. What I want to show you now is some maybe hidden features. Let me just show you this with a different card. For example, we go down to a free deck of mine with my errors. So where is it? See lots of stuff here on the right side. You see all the decks, and with subdecks sometimes. And so here we have, for example, my personal decks, checker play and cube action, where I made some errors. So I first want to show you some features that are available on the front and on the back side of a card. So I go to preview again, or I could also go into the deck and in the learning mode. And yeah, one thing you can always do is when you have a match score, it's shown on the top here, and you can just click on it, and then you get this quite useful information about this score. So in this case, you see the next take point. In this case, the cube is already on black side here, and you see the gammon values for the different for both sides. And you can just click on this pop-up window again anywhere, and it will close again. So what you can also do here is when you make a right click on the diagram, so somewhere in this area, then you get something which I call the manual dice matrix. And this is quite useful if you want to count shots or anti-jokers or whatever. So basically you can click on any cell here, and the thing is that it counts automatically. So I often use this when I do coaching for my students, and when we start at the beginning, usually it's counting shots or something like that. And you see, for example, here in this case, if an ace hits, then you get this nice display here. And you can even go further, that you can add more levels. So when you want to count different groups, so to speak, maybe very good rolls, neutral rolls, or bad rolls, or something like that, then you can, for example, say level 3, and then it means if you click on a cell and click a second time, it changes to another color. So if I click one time, it's blue. If I click 2 times, it's green. If I click 3 times, it's another color here in this case. And you see here this sums up the numbers quite nicely and different from the different groups here. Just a small thing, which is quite helpful, I think, when you do some tactic practice. So this is just via right-clicking on the diagram on the front or on the back side. So then the next thing that we have here is that you can click on the move from the multiple choice list here. So for example, if I click here on not on the button. If you click on the button, you make a selection and say this is the move you want to execute, or your solution, so to speak. But if you click here on the text of the move itself, then you see you get this the diagram changed, and you see the final position after, in this case, 6-2 is played 24-18 and 7-5. And you can click on the same move again, then you see the original position, or you can click on another move, then of course it changes to in this case to move B. And you can also always click on the diagram itself, then it shows the original position again. And also you can click on the text here below the pip count, where it shows which position here is displayed at the moment. When you click there, it also goes back to the original position. So then I will show you something, but there I need a cube action card. So let's go maybe here to the first card of cube action here. So if you have a cube action card on the front side, and it's quite a good practice that before you make your decision, your final decision, or if you would double or not, and if you would take or not, that you make an estimation about the winning and gammon chances, for example. So you can do that. And then when you click on the diagram, you get a little information window again, which shows you the winning chances and the gammon chances and the gammon deficit, and also the volatility. This is quite useful when you make advanced cube action practice, that you first make your estimation, and then after that you can check it via clicking on the diagram, and then finally you make your action decision, if you would double or not, or take or pass. So I think this is quite useful. Of course, you would see this on the answer page, but here I think it's quite nice that you can see it without seeing the complete solution. Yeah, just for practicing estimation. Of course, pretty much advanced stuff. If you want to start with estimation, I can highly recommend Dirk Schiemann's book, Theory of Backgammon, where he gives also some useful tips how to start. Because if you do this at the beginning, obviously you are often off by a lot, but he has some useful tips which should get you started, and then it's just, as everything, and always practice, practice, practice. So, and another hidden feature, that's why I call it hidden features, because it's not obvious where you can click. And of course, from the point of designing a software, of course, this is horrible. In a normal software, you should immediately see in every situation what you could do there. But since it's a tool for nerds anyway, I think it's not too bad to have some hidden features or Easter eggs, and which are not too obvious. So what you can do now is, if you click on the pip count line, there you get my favorite pip counting method, which is the crisscross count. Obviously, this is everything is just a matter of taste here when it comes to pip count, because there are so many clever pip count methods, and this is the one I'm using over the board. And then you can, if you want to start it, learning it, you can practice it, because every little step here is explained on the left based on the current position. That's a nice thing. Of course, we cannot go into this, but if you're still looking for a pip count method, there's also a tutorial by Max Glaser you can download from his site or from his Google Drive if you are interested. The thing is, if you play live backgammon, my theory is that you should have a method where you get an accurate pip count in 30 seconds or less. And both things are very important. It has to be accurate. By the way, this method only gives you the relative pip count or the difference. It has to be accurate and it has to be fast. If you're not fast enough, you will not do it often enough. That's my how I see it. So if you're still missing a method, I would recommend that you take a look at the crisscross count. It's half crossover combined with colorless, so all the nerdy great stuff. But there are lots of super cool methods where I'm always wondering how the hell did people come up with this, because there are so many genius people outside, and yeah, it's really great. So anyway, if you don't have a good pip count method which is accurate and fast, then I would recommend go shopping in the internet and look and try some, and then pick one which suits you most and practice it. So there's another little thing I want to show you. This is but more interesting maybe on a mobile device. I want to emulate this a little bit by making here this preview window a little bit narrower, so you have you don't have the full screen. So on a mobile device usually it looks more like that. And then, for example, just wondering, yeah. For example, when you go to the back side and you have these XG graphics, it can be a little bit hard to read on a smaller screen. And then you can just click on one, and then it goes from, instead of side by side, to this stacked view, or however you want to call it. And then on a small screen it's far better, far easier to read. Or for example, if you go back to a checker play, it's the same thing here. If you click here on any of those, it goes in stacked view, and if you click again, you have the side-by-side view again. And this is also for Gammon Save or Gammon Go, no matter where you click. And this, I think it makes a lot of easier to read on a small screen, like on your mobile device. Hi Dirk, nice to see you here in the chat. Greetings to 𝗔𝗶𝗶 or wherever you are. So this was the front and back. I think there are some extra thing on the back side. Let me just check on my list here. Yeah, on the back side with checker play. So if you can click here on the main result, so the result for the current score here. If you click there, it will just hide the multiple choice list. Maybe if you want to make a screenshot and don't need the multiple choice lists, that's just a small thing. Yeah, and it works like that on checker play problems, when you come to the answer side, the multiple choice list is immediately displayed, and you can hide it via clicking on the result, and show it again by clicking on the result again. And let me just go to a cube action for comparison. And the cube action is vice versa. The multiple choice list is really not so interesting because the options are always the same, as opposed to when you have a checker play problem. But still, you can click here on it and see the multiple choice. Does not make much sense, but anyway. So, and let's go back to a checker play again. We have already seen that you can display the move, the final position of after a move has been played on the front, and of course you can also do the same on the back side here. If you click here on a move, you see the final position. So regards also to 𝗔Ｈ𝗸𝗶. I think this is Sebastian, if I remember correctly. And I'm glad to hear that you like the Anki system. So what's next on my list? Yeah, there's, I think there's more on cube action. Obviously, this is really not a hidden feature. You have the score matrix, and it's all already explained here under the score matrix, that you can click here on any cell. For example, if I click here on the cell 4 away, 2 away, and I get this nice score information with the take point and the gammon values. Same as we saw here on the main. If you go on the main score, you have the same in the score matrix. And the nice thing is you don't have to close it. You can go to different cells and the window will change. So it's an easy way, I think, to learn or double check what you've remembered regarding take points and gammon values. Yeah, and as always, if there's a pop-up window, you can just click anywhere in the window to hide it again. So what else do I have on my list? I think we need portrait view again. And so this, now we see it again, how it looks on the left side more or less on a mobile device. And there you can click on the text. If you click there anywhere, it switches the position of the score matrix and the results. So by default, the score matrix comes first, and the result for the current match score and the neutral match score or neutral score comes afterwards. You can change the positions by clicking on the description text here. Small thing, but maybe sometime it may be useful. So, and then I think there's one more thing regarding the different best moves. Let me go to move decision again. Let's just go if there's some, for example, here we have a position where the best move is not always the same. So in these cards, you always have the result for the current match score, which happened during the match, and you also have the neutral score, which is in my case always money game without 𝗔Ｈ𝗶𝗶, and you have DMP, and you have gammon safe, and you have gammon go. And if it's not always the same, you get here this nice extra information here, which alerts you that there's something score dependent here. And yeah, you see there are two different moves. So in gammon safe, it's here in this case best to play 23 to 18. In all other cases, the best move is 20, 16 and 10 to 9. And there's another little feature. If you click on this text number of different best moves, if you click there, it shows you in 3 columns the results, the best move for a neutral score, depending on the cube position. Usually you don't need this. It will display it automatically if there is a difference. So in this case, it's no matter where the cube position is in neutral score, the best move according to XG2Anki is always the same. That's why this was hidden. But if you're still interested and want to check, was it maybe even close? Or if you just have some idea that it maybe have to do something with the cube position, you can always click here on this number of different best moves, and then it will get displayed. And if you want to hide it again, you just click here on this header, and then it disappears again. So I think there's only one more thing regarding the features, and then we come to the big topic, filtering. As you may have noticed, there are all kinds of parameters where you can influence how the Anki decks or my Anki decks are working. If you go to my website and go to the section configuration, then you see a huge list where you can influence how the deck works. You can hide the multiple choice list, for example, if you don't want to see the move list at the beginning, or you can just go through. To be honest, I have created the defaults like that I can work with it without any deck parameters. The only deck parameter that I'm using when I'm preparing for a live tournament is the parameter P, which is activating the pip count trainer. And this is what I wanted to briefly show you. So let's go, for example, doesn't matter, let's take any deck. Let's take the second roll deck. If you click on this little what is it called, gear, or at the end, the settings icon, and there you can go on rename, and the deck parameters work like that they have to be in square brackets at the end, and then the parameter, if you have more than one, you can add more with separated by semicolon, and then you have to close the bracket. So here I'm setting the deck parameter P. And now if you go into it, and we see that the pip count is not displayed. Instead, we get this little timer, which goes up to 60. And the idea is that you make your pip count. Maybe it's not the best example here in an opening position. You make your pip count, and as soon as you have your pip count in your head, you click on show pip count, and then you see the pip count. You can you see if you got it right, and you see how fast you are. That's a really cool method, I think, to practice pip counting. That in every Anki, and I really do that a week before a live tournament. All Anki cards I practice in, I always activate the pip count trainer. And yeah, so my idea is you should be a precise count and below 30 seconds. And that's a good way to check accuracy and how fast you are. That's really, I think, it's a small thing, but I can only highly recommend if you are preparing for a live tournament, because this is one of the biggest drawbacks in live tournaments. You don't have your pip count available. And XG has taught us that how important the pip count is. Even in the beginning, the move might really be quite different if you are 5 pips ahead or 5 pips down. So pip counting is really important thing. So now one general thing I would recommend, if you're already working with Anki, that you really take a short look maybe in the help. So if you're in your Anki application and click on F1 or here on help and then on guide, there's a really good online help for Anki. And I would really recommend that you take a look at the background chapter just to get a good overview of what Anki is all about. You can also learn about the spaced repetition algorithm and things like that. And yeah, so this is all a general Anki stuff, has nothing to do with XG2Anki. And I would recommend to take a look at filter decks, which is number 13 here, and also about searching, because searching, yeah, is the first thing. When you want to create a filter, you have to know how to search. You had a little easy example at the beginning where we searched for a specific position, and now we get to a little bit more advanced stuff. Hi Eric, nice to have you here. I would recommend, if you're maybe after this live stream you got motivated to do a little bit more filtering and organizing your Anki work, I highly recommend this chapter number 14 in the Anki help. So basically, you have in searching, you have some wildcards. The underscore is a wildcard for a specific character, one specific character, and the star sign or asterisk is for an unlimited number of any characters. That's one of the most two important things to know. And yeah, let's now jump into Anki and do some searching. Searching is always done here on in the browser window, browse window. At the top here you can enter your filter criteria. So, and Anki is already doing this automatically. You see, if I change the deck here, it always creates a filter for me, so to speak. For example, here it's deck double point, so the deck name, and then yeah, it's just the name of the deck I have entered here. It's automatically creates it here. But I could enter anything here. So for example, let's do some random stuff. Not so random. So let's try this. So 6-4S, so maybe a part of nectation. Let's see what happens. And Anki works like that if you just enter anything here, it will search all cards in all fields and come up with something. So you in any fields. And if we take a look here now, why did it find here a card in early match cubes? You see here on the right side. I would also recommend you to take a brief look in the browse window, which fields are available and what are inside these fields. So the most important field is of course the XG ID. This is really helpful. For example, the pip count that you see on the cards is not saved in any data field here. It's calculated on the fly based on the XG ID. So I did a little bit programming in JavaScript to get this information out the XG ID, for example. Then of course you have the position, the graphic, and so let's see why did he say here 6-4S did fulfill the filter criteria. And where do we have it? Now we see here there's a data field XG2Anki info. When I create the cards, there will always be this field. I will always fill this field with information where I see when did I create the card and on which XG file was used to create this card. And you see now here in the file name, I named this file 64s55dance.xgp, and that's why it's here inside. So he searches all data fields if this text that you enter here is inside. And of course, we see many second row, but usually I don't search like that, entering just random stuff here, because you may get some unexpected results because he searches in all fields. Usually you have an idea where you want to search. So for example, I will copy in now a prepared filter here, like this one. So it's a deck double point second row, which means I'm searching in all cards in the deck with the name second row, and in the field nectation, we can see here, for example, there should be a database field. I think it's at the end. You can see there's a lot of, I think I have around 100 data fields in these Anki cards. And you see there's one with nectation, and there's 6-4S and then 1-1, because the opponent started with a 6-4 split, and then a 1-1 is played. So the data field is nectation double point, and then I'm searching for S4S and an asterisk, which means any characters that come after that. So let's search here. And what went wrong? 6-4S. I'm confused. Nectation, where's the error? Gut, dass das jetzt passiert, would we say in German. And let me check the first part. And let me do some apostrophes. So something is weird here. I don't know exactly what. I'm confused. Sorry about that, guys. It worked on my system. Where is the error? Ah, you see, I prepared this, and what I made wrong here, I have for the pip count trainer, I have added the parameter, and of course this is also part of the deck name. And if I say here, this was my filter condition, let me copy it in. I should I have to add this P in brackets at the end, or I'd put an asterisk, or I would remove it from the deck name. Anything should work. But I think I will rename it here. You can also do it here in the browser. Right click and then rename, because I have more examples and then I don't have to change them. Anyway, so we can go now and copy it again here. And now we see all these cards in the title here on the top. You always see how many cards he has found. So there are 18 cards where the opponent started with a 6-4 split, and now we are on roll. So we go on preview here. And then, for example, you can practice all the cards where the opponent started with 6-4 and used the big split. It makes some sense because yeah, 6-4 is pretty special, and some answers are not so common. For example, like, meanwhile, well known, I think, the double 2, which is hard to find if you have not learned it somehow or seen it and remembered it, it's hard to find that at a neutral score you have to hit. And as we see here, by quite a big margin. Okay, another one I want to show you. So this was just, of course, it's up to your imagination how you want to, because the thing is, if you have the second roll deck, you have 459 cards. You can, of course, go one by one, and in a few months, maybe you have gone through all the cards. But it makes, I think, a lot of sense to structure it a little bit better by groups, and then the learning is easier. And let's do a second example. I'll copy something here. Maybe you can guess what is happening here. So we have the deck name first, okay, and then nectation, and then we have 3 underscores and then 2. What would we expect? We are looking for entries where in the nectation field any 3 characters, there has to be one, so and the character number 4 and 5 is 2. So it's quite easy to imagine. It's 2 as an answer to anything. So if you go again here on preview, by the way, we can also, if you are in the preview mode, you can check this box here on the upper lower right backside only, if you want to scroll through it fast. So we can go through all the cards, and you see it's always 2, and we know that there are quite some interesting changes. For example, it's almost always right to make the golden point in gammon safe, which is quite interesting. And so you can very quickly scroll through similar positions, which would be quite hard to do if you do this in XG. Of course, you could save all the files and then drag and drop it or whatever. But I think you cannot get an overview over a specific group of cards or positions easier than with this method, I think. Okay, let's try another example. I just want to give you some ideas what you can do, in this case with the opening reply deck, to get more out of it than just going through it card by card. So what I copied the title, not the filter condition. So now here I have entered again the name of the deck is second roll, deck :second roll, and nectation is 6_S52 or nectation 6_S54. So which means we are looking for positions where our opponent has made a split with a 6. So this is 6, and then any die, and then S, that's the third letter in the nectation. Hi, Alex. Greetings to Switzerland. Alex number 2. And yeah, let's check what happens here. We have here 5 positions, and we go to preview. And then we can easily see here that if we can't hit in the outside after a major split with a 6, it's always right to hit on the ace point and split the back checkers. And it's also interesting that you see here when we scroll through the cards and you look here at number of best moves, and you will see here that here this message, it may be score dependent or is score dependent, will not show up. So you can quickly see these positions and see yeah, what they have in common. So in this case, it's very easy to remember. No matter of the score, which score you have, it's always right to hit and split with a 5-2 or 5-4 after the major split with a 6 in the opening. Yeah, but by the way, there are sometimes the XG2Anki news pop up on the backside. Yeah, with some tips, and I think most of them I already mentioned here. And by default, I think it's from the probability, it's a 1 in 10 chance that a tip here shows up. But there's also a parameter. You can look it up in the table I showed you at the beginning on the website, where you can make sure that tips come up more often or less often, or even that they don't show up at all. Okay, two more thing I have here for the opening deck, and then we come to the what you can do with the huge amount of cube cards when you have the cube action Encyclopedia. I'm pretty sure I do not pronounce this correctly. By Ryuichi Shina, the author of the Cube Action 1000 books, a 3-book set. Yeah. For example, let's see, you want to find out, see all the positions where you have a 3-1 or a 1-1, and the opponent has slotted with an ace. Oh, that's another typical group. And yeah, I would do it like that. So often there's more than one solution to one problem. So I have added here the deck name and then nectation _1 and then the dollar sign for slot. I don't know if you are not aware of the nectation, you can just look it up. It's a notation invented by Nick Ballard. If you're googling Backgammon nectation, and then you will see a bigger article by Nick. He has all kinds of advanced stuff here. In the beginning, we only need the basic stuff, but he even has the short notation where you can even notate a complete Backgammon game also later in the game, not just for the opening or opening reply. Anyway, the dollar sign means slot as compared to a capital S for split. So we looking for an ace slot, and then as reply a 3-1 or a 1-1. So just very brief, if you have several conditions here, like here, if there's no operator, it's always connected with AND, which means this condition has to be fulfilled. So deck name is equals second roll, and in this case, nectation anything, any letter, and then $1 or nectation _1 and $11. So any slot and then the reply 3-1 or 1-1. And so yeah, we have here 6 cards this time. And then we go and preview again. And then we have here what we expected. Here a 2-1 slot followed by 1-1. 2-1 followed by 3-1. And so you can really very quickly go through these positions and see the results. And also on one view, on one side, you see all the important information, especially neutral score, DMP, gammon safe, gammon go, and for money game. I think there's no easier way or faster way to study this. But if you have a better method, let me know. So now I want to try something. It's a last example for filtering on the opening reply deck. It's quite public knowledge, so to speak, that the builder on the 9-point is quite important and often makes a big difference on the checker play decisions of the opponent. So how could we get all positions where the opponent has a builder on the 9 point? So I will show you 2 ways, and I'm sure there are even more ways. Let me a very simple method, a little bit brute force. So of course the first part is here again, deck name second roll, and then we have a combination of all the opening rolls that puts a builder on the 9 point, which means the 6-4 split, and then any answer asterisk, the 5-4 down, the 4-3 reverse split, the 4-3 2 down, the 4-1 split, and the 4-1 slot. So these are all the possible opening rolls. And let's check. So we see here now a bigger amount of cards. We have 87 cards. And we check now what's inside. We go on preview, on our preview button again, and scroll through and check a little bit all the positions. We should see here, in this case, the position doesn't change because we have now all the 4-1 slot comes first, and the next group will be, but we see there's always a builder on the 4. Now we have the 4-1 split, and so on and so on. So for example, this would be one idea to, if I would prepare a lecture or a coaching, I'm looking for a theme, this would be one idea to group the opening replies to make emphasis on the importance of the builder on the 9 point. And there are some really funny moves. For example, if you see here, at DMP typical is when you hit on the 9 point, you also move to the 16 point with your second back checker in DMP. So it's typical. And as you can see here, number of different best moves, 3 is quite a lot, and it's a sign for a very interesting problem when you have so many different best moves depending on the match score. Okay, now this was finding out the positions with a builder on the 9 point. It was a little bit, you can say, brute force method, and you have to think about which opening rolls produce a builder on the 9 and create your filter definition accordingly. But there would be a more elegant way, but maybe also a little bit nerdy that I show you because I love nerdy stuff. So what about this? So we have again the deck name, and we have XG_ID, the field XG_ID, and it starts with XG_ID equal, and then we have 16 underscore, and then an A, and then an asterisk. What does that mean? First of all, we can try it out. Let's just switch to prove that it really changes. And we see with this a little bit strange looking filter condition, we get the same number of cards, and I can promise, hi Patrick, good to see that you made it. Yeah, the result is the same. And what does the filter definition do here? It says the first 16 fields, and that's where we come back. If you want to do stuff like that, you have to take a little look at the XG help in the chapter XG_ID. and to learn how the XG works. And it's basically, it starts with the bar of the opponent is the first character, and then comes our ace point, 2 point, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And this is the 16 point. And a small character means there are checkers from the opponent. A capital letter means, or for the top player in the XG diagram, and capital letter means for the bottom player. So this means, this little a means that indeed on our 16 point or opponent's 9 point, that's exactly one of opponent's checker. So much for that. Yeah. One more thing before we come to the cube action deck. It's a huge amount of cards in Ryuichi Shina's cube action and Encyclopedia. Don't know how to pronounce it. As we have seen, I have copied something here and then copied some other stuff. And then, of course, what we have done before is more or less lost. Not really. You have here this little history if you click on this little down arrow here. But what would be a better thing to do is that we save our search. And one way is that the very top item here on the sidebar says saved searches. Some kind of favorites. That's why it has this little heart here. And if you make a right click here, you have one entry in the menu which says save current search. So this is really cool. So you can now you give a name for this, how it should be displayed in this sidebar. So let's say opening, let's be precise. Opening reply. It's hard. Against a builder on the 9 point. You don't have to be so long. So, and now the cool thing is that you have this entry here. So if you go somewhere else, for example, second row, and I want to have my old search here, I just have to click it here, and immediately the table gets populated with these 87 cards again. This is pretty cool, I think. So any search, if you think I might reuse it later or want to reuse it later, it would be a good idea to save it here. I think that's quite a powerful and useful feature. Okay, now we finally come to the Cube Encyclopedia deck by Ryuichi Shina. And there will be, if I have finished it, I think there will be more than 9,000 cards at the end. I think we have not reached the half point so far. We have now 10 volumes available. I think there are slightly over 4,000 cards already. So what I'm talking here is about these decks here. And yeah, they are imported like you would download them if you buy them. And yeah, so the first thing would be, how can I get all the cards? Yeah, to see. If I go through and I click on a single deck here, you always see on the top in the window, in the title here, you see the number of cards. So the first one is 447, next one 93, and the biggest one was this here with one man back on the bar with over 1,500 cards. So if we want to see all cards together, which would be possible by entering a filter like that. So we have deck double point and then the name of the deck, and then the rest anything. So any deck that his name starts with Ryuichi, Shina's Cube Action, Encyclopedia should be in there. And then you see we have 4,299. So what will we do with 4,299 cards? I think even the nerdiest Backgammon player, it would take forever to go through them. Yeah, what could we do? Of course, we could do some filtering. For example, you could limit it to just opening positions. By the way, I think I should mention one thing that is called tags here. And you see there's many tags that start with XG2Anki. And the thing is that when I create Anki cards, no matter some decks for sale or some individual decks or whatever, I always generate tags automatically. For example, there's always will be a tag if it's action type checker play or cube, or the player is on the doubling side or is on the take side. And we have all the scores, for example, for opponent and for player. We have a tag for how many different best moves they are according to when it comes to different match scores. Gammon save, gammon go, DMP, neutral score, and the current score from the actual match where the position is from. There are tags for the error size, so you can easily, what's the idea of a tag? That you can make a filter based on that. So you can create a deck where only your biggest blunders bigger than 300 millipoints, for example, and you would use this tag here. And you see, even Moji comes up here. Don't think that this is only for normal human beings, the higher ones. And there are also some cool stuff here, which start with position feature, number of anchors, number of backcheckers, and so on. I don't want to put you into sleep now, but yeah, just go to the browse window, and if you want to start filtering, just look what's there, and then I'm sure you get ideas how you can create filters. Number of homeboard points made by the player or by the opponent, pip count range, position types, position type opening we will use now. Of course, there's also a tag for the role. So if you want to create a filter or a filtered deck just with double 4 positions where double 4 has to be played, you can easily do that. So let's just see here. So in the whole database, we have 113 checker play positions where we had to play double 4, for example. There's also tags for volatility, which would be advanced filters if you want to create a deck or a search only for positions with very high volatility, for example, which could be quite interesting to practice them one after the other to get used to what's happening when the volatility is extremely high. Anyway, so go to browse and see what's below or under text. This may give you some ideas how to create or what you could filter on. So what I will do now is I want to see all opening positions, for example. No? Then I could do something like that. So the first part here is the deck name, and with its asterisk I get all the volumes. And the next one is there should be a specific tag. Yeah? So tag double point. So this is not a field name tag, so it's meant what's coming after the double point should be the name of the tag. And it's basically what we have seen. a little bit because of the underscore has special meaning. And here we are not looking for any character. We explicitly want to see the underscore because this is part of the tag name. So we have to what we call escape it with a backslash before. Anyway, yeah, what do we have here? So we see we have 406 cards. So we get at least we got narrowed it down a little bit. So we see all positions where it's somehow an opening position. We can go on preview and just check a little bit and see what kinds of positions we get here. So this would be an opening deck, but still pretty big deck and maybe not so easy to handle. So yeah, maybe we can go a little bit more advanced. What about we want the opening cube actions, but the opponent has a checker on the bar and we have a 3-point board. Yeah, just and I've prepared one filter as well. This is a little bit longer. Maybe I will also copy it in the notepad, then we can easier see what's going on. So the first condition which I've highlighted here is again the deck name. Then the next condition, and since there's no operator, then it's always combined with AND. So the deck name has to be has to start with Ryuichi Shina's cube action Encyclopedia. And then the tag, we want a specific tag. The tag position type opening has to exist. And the tag position feature checkers on bar opponent 1. So the opponent has to have a checker, exactly one checker on the bar. And final condition, XG2Anki position feature, home points made by player 3. So this means we want positions where type opening, exactly one opponent's checker on the bar, and we have exactly 3 home board points made. Let's see if and how it works. So now it gets a little bit more easy to handle. We only have, which we see on the title here, 71 cards. And let's just take a quick look what kind of positions come up here. So we have the rack here, opponent on the bar. We have, looks like after 5-5. So you see the point. So it makes a lot more sense to have an practice session when you have similar positions. I think you learn a lot more and faster as compared with some random selection of cards. I hope you can follow my idea here. So now we could easily change this. For example, if I just change this last 3 here to 4, and we have nine positions in the database where it's of position type opening, and one opponent's check on the bar, and we have a 4-point board. Let's go on preview and check. Now we see here black always has a 4-point board. And now it makes a lot more sense to have this huge amount of Anki cards when you can do filtering like that. I hope you agree. And yeah, what about doubling from the bar? And I thought maybe I copy it and maybe you think about it. 61 position. I copy it here that you can more. It's easier to read. Maybe you can guess what is happening here. What kind of positions do you expect? Let's check if someone is still alive in the chat. You have 14 viewers. So what kind of positions do we expect with this filter criteria? Let me drink some tea. Yeah, we have 3 conditions. There's no or, so it's always combined with and. First condition is name of the deck has to start with blah, blah, blah. Then this tag has to be there, which means position feature checker on the bar player. So the player, so the doubler or the attacker has 1 checker on the bar, and last condition, the tag home points made by opponent 4. So this is really cool. How can you double with a checker on the bar against a 4-point board? Yeah, so we have 61, and now I'll go on preview and see what is going on. All kinds of interesting stuff here. For example, would you have double tier? Obviously, the volatility is sky high in positions like that, and yeah, volatility of more than 5, which is so weird. But obviously, if you hit, you have a big chance of winning a gammon, and if you don't hit, probably you get doubled out, I guess. So yeah, so you can practice easily. If you see that you're not doubling enough when you are on the bar, you could create a deck with filter criteria like that. So just out of curiosity, against a 5-point board cannot be a normal position, no? I guess. Can it? 31. What kinds of positions are that? Ah, okay, these are where you have already checkers spawn off. But there's not this type of action positions than we expect. But I think against a 3 or even 4-point board would be quite interesting to practice. Okay, one more. I mentioned it before that we also have tags for volatility. So it would be possible, for example, to enter a filter like that. Deck name, always the same here. And then the tag volatility extremely high. And then we have all kinds of short positions, and it's, I think the condition was more than 1, the volatility. By my definition, was extremely high. Yeah. One more thing, maybe if you want to do this filtering, usually I do that and copy it into a notepad or editor, and then finally copy it to Anki. You could also click together your filter. You could do. You saw me when I click here on the sidebar, it changes the filter. For example, we had this second roll. I click here on second roll, that's the deck name, and it changes here. And the problem is if I would now say position type opening, when I go down to the text, then I get everything with opening, not just second roll. You see, there are all kinds of decks here. But how to solve that? And to be honest, I just learned this when I prepared for this live stream. I did something weird and really read what I recommended you to do a few minutes ago, to read the Anki help. And there's really a solution to that. I really thought I have to always go click something, copy it out, put it in the editor, and then combine this to a more complicated filter, but you can really do it, or often you can do it directly. So let's go to the deck here now. And now when I go down, I want second roll deck and I want all the opening positions. And now I go to in the text area and look for position type opening. And now instead of just clicking, then it would just enter the tag alone as a filter condition. I can, with control click, he will add it. You see, now on the top we have the deck, still the tag name. And if you shift click, you get an OR. So OR you have to mention explicitly, and is always implicit. You don't have to enter, and you can, but I think he removes it anyway then. Yeah, and so you can also, if you click the Alt key, it makes let me just remove it and you can see it better. If I press the Alt key and then click on something, then it adds the tag, but at the beginning there's a minus, which means not. So you will get here all the cards that are not of type opening. So, but I really recommend you to reach the complete paragraph about searching, because it's really helpful to get you started when it comes to filtering, creating saved searches, and also filter deck, which I will do in the next step. Yeah, so clicking, you will just select this. Control click, you will add it so that it makes an AND connection. And with shift, so holding game, and then shift blitz, where then position type holding game or blitz. Yeah, to be honest, I learned this not so long ago. I just went clicking here and then copying this in an editor and then combine it in the editor to my filter and then copy the result at the end here. But there's an easier way. Yeah, so we learned a lot about filtering and how to save the searches. And the final topic I want to show you here, that you can also create what is called filtered decks. Because what we have done here was just in the browsing window. So you could use it for previewing, but not for studying in the meaning of Anki, that you are using this spaced repetition algorithm. And when you want to combine this, the searching, and you want to study, not just to view here in the preview, you need to create something that is called filtered decks. And this is quite cool as well. So we will just close this. And if you go on tools, there's an entry create filtered deck, or with the shortcut F. And here you can just enter a name. Let's see, what could we do? Let's do doubling from the bar against the 4-point board, for example. So the first thing is the name of the deck. Just did some random stuff here, filtered deck, and the current time. So let's call it doubling from the bar against the 4-point board. And then we have search. And here we enter the same as we did in the search bar in the browse window. So here in this case, first the deck name, and then comes the tag. Yeah, it's still the same here. The deck name, then the tag checkers on the bar 1, and home points made opponent 4. That's what I'm entering. And you can also limit it. So if there are more than 100, it will just take the first 100. But yeah, it's enough. Just enter the name, the filter condition, and you can leave this, or you can increase it, whatever. And then here you can choose the order. I usually leave it to random, does not matter too much. And then you go to build. And then we should see here the deck. And you see the big difference. The filter decks are displayed a little bit different here in a different color. So you see this is a filter deck. And yeah, let's just jump into it. And how does it work? So you see it here in the description. This is a special deck for studying outside of the normal schedule. Cards will be automatically returned to the original decks after you review. Deleting this deck, and this is very important, will return the remaining cards to the original deck. So if you delete a filter deck, the cards will not be deleted. They just go back to their home deck. But it's important to know, if you have created this filter deck, the cards that are inside the filter deck will not show up if you now learn the original deck where these cards came from. They are temporarily moved to the filter deck. That's an important thing to know. Now we go on study. And now we have here the first one where we can double or not from the roof against the 4-point board. Yeah, that's another way. So if you really want to do the studying, I would recommend using the filter deck feature, which is pretty cool. If you just if you want more control which cards to show, for example, when I use it for coaching, when I prepare something for my students, I usually do it via the preview mode, browse and then preview instead of filter deck. But anyway, I think the filter deck are a really cool feature. And so why did I close it? That was not the intention. I just wanted to, before we finish the things I really wanted to show you. So you can also do, if you go inside this filter deck, you could also click here on the button on rebuild, because maybe the data has changed, and if you rebuild, maybe there will be some additional cards that have not been there when you last created when you have created the filter deck the last time. So you can go on rebuild, and it just applies the filter condition again. But since I have not changed anything, it makes no difference here. So, and finally, so if you learn the cards one by one, it will return to its home deck. And really important to know is if you delete a filter deck, you see 0 cards deleted. It showed here in the message. So just the filter deck is deleted, not the cards inside. If you delete a normal deck here, the cards would be gone and you would have to import them again. So let me check my list. I think that's basically what I had on my list that I wanted to show you. Yeah, any questions? So my idea was not to make a general Anki promotion video. I wanted to show you things, or mainly for users who already work with Anki and maybe want to get more out of it. And I think especially the filtering stuff is, yeah, it's, you have to see Anki as a database. And it's also not only your Blender database, it's a Backgammon position database in general. And in each database, you have to have the possibility to filter and search or query. Otherwise, there's not much, yeah, you just have a lot of data and cannot use it. Yeah, so if you afterwards you try your first filtering and have some ideas and you are somehow stuck, you can always send me an email and I try to help. Of course, it's not possible. Not every filter is possible. For example, at the moment, if you would say, I want positions where the one side has exactly the rack in the home port, no? 6 point, 5 point, and 4 point made. Yeah, what we have done here, because I have no tag for specific home board points, just for the number of points. So you would have to, I'm pretty sure it could be done via filtering on the XG ID, but it would be quite messy. So one of the things I'm, hi Andreas, by the way. Nice to have you here. You were so quiet. And one of the things I have in mind is to extend this text, even though if we go to browse again and take a look at the typical card, for example, from the cube action deck, and you see we already have here so 17 tags, for example. There is already a lot of text that are automatically assigned, but I think I will extend this in the future. But the problem is, of course, I do not want to recreate the cards. So this I have done once now, because when I invented this show final position feature, since it can only show the position when the graphic is created and is inside the Anki card. So this was, will not do this again, of course. It's just taking too much time. But what I'm planning is that that I will, if I find the time, create another script where I can add text to existing cards. So more or less the program would fetch the XG ID, which is always inside a card, and then whatever, check for additional text and just add them here without creating a new card, just adding text. That's one of my ideas that I have. So it's it cannot hurt if you have any filtering ideas and they're just not possible at the moment to send me a message. And then if I come to this sub project, so to speak, it's good to have some ideas from the users, what they would like to have, which filter possibilities they think they are missing. I think with all this stuff you have, there's a lot you can do already. But of course, yeah, if you say, for example, all positions where you have exactly 6, 5, or 4 point, then it would be a little bit difficult at the moment to create a filter like that. Anyway, so I see no questions. I hope it was not too nerdy. And yeah, you can always send me a mail. If I see no question, I hope I did not overlook any. then I guess I will wrap it up. Last chance for any questions. Yeah, so next stream will be on next Sunday. It will be another stream in German language where I play against Viper1001, the winner of the last Backgammon Prime Discord tournament, where I always offer 200 Anki credits for the winner, or as an alternative that we play a match in a live stream and I analyze it and send the winner then a little Anki deck with the errors from our match after the match. So this will be, we have done this, was it last Sunday or the Sunday before, with the stream with Tilman Lossen from Berlin. And yeah, do this with Ralph next Sunday. I think it's also, I think 6 o'clock, but I will announce it ahead of time. So no more questions in the chat, so I will wrap it up. And yeah, I hope you got some inspiration what to do with especially with huge amounts of Anki cards. And I know there are people who have a lot, and yeah, filtering is the key. Hi Dietmar, last chance. Hi Dietmar. Good that you were here and hope you got something out of it. Yeah, then I would say enjoy the rest of the Sunday. Here in Germany it's almost night. In other parts the day has just started, so masturbate the best out of it at these wild times. At least we have our Backgammon where we can a little bit still enjoy life and find some nice distraction from the shit that is going on all over the world. Anyway, enjoy your life now. It will not get much better. See you soon. Bye bye.